Hi, I'm Aaron Fischer, and this is my review for Unhinged, starring Russell Crowe and Caren Pistorius. You're going to want to stick around for this one. All right, so this is a movie that I heard about right as the pandemic was starting, and I saw one trailer at the theater, and it was quiet after that. And I had just assumed that everything was pushed back, including this film. Well, come to find out, Unhinged came out in July. It actually got released at theaters, which I was completely unaware of. Otherwise, I would have gone to see it. Luckily, not only did they release it in theaters, but they've given it a digital release. And this is how I saw it, was off of Vudu. Vudu, you can rent it right now. It is $20 to rent it, but it is going to be coming out on video and also for rent on digital media later this month. I think in about 2 to 3 weeks. So should you rent this movie? Well, you're going to want to hear this review first. Well, the overall story arc of this movie is, people are getting kind of anxious in society and you don't want to tick people off. And Russell Crowe is an individual who ends up having a traffic altercation with a girl named Rachel in the movie. And things go haywire from there. And you saw that in the trailer. I would encourage anybody to watch. In fact, I'll leave a link to the trailer for Unhinged in my description. This movie was billed as a suspense thriller. That's what the trailer made it look like. I want to make no mistake here. This is not a suspense thriller film. This is a straight up horror movie. I could not believe what I saw in this film. This is a film that is definitely not for kids and is not your typical suspense thriller film. So I want that to make that very clear. This is a straight up horror movie. I could tell you the movie starts out with an event starring Russell Crowe where he commits a horrible, horrible crime. That's when it jumps to this traffic altercation he has with this girl named Rachel, played by Caren Pistorius. From there, things go completely haywire. Now, at the onset of this movie, after the beginning, and you see this horrific crime that Russell Crowe commits, they kind of lead you on an intro showing how society has had issues with road rage and everything else. And there's a bunch of clips, and you think you're about to see a film with some kind of meaning behind it to spark some kind of dialogue. Yeah, that's not what this was. This, like I said, Russell Crowe kills a lot of people in this movie. There's nothing realistic about this movie. I was hoping for something a little more grounded and down to earth, something that may spark some kind of dialogue. But that's not what they were going for here in this film, and that's clear. This is a sensationalized movie with a lot of death. It's very graphic, lots of language. Like I said, definitely not for the kids. And the movie's only an hour and 26 minutes long. And even at that, it kind of felt like it was too long. I was glad when the movie ended. Did I hate this movie? No, I didn't. But I don't like being billed a movie and then going in and seeing something completely different. If they just build this with a horror film, then I would have gone in expecting to see a horror film. Does that mean it doesn't have suspense and some of that thriller component to it? No, it does, but that's not what this is about. So I'm not going to give anything away in regards to the story or what actually happens in the film. If you want to watch the movie, feel free to watch it. But in the end, I don't feel like it definitely did not give the message that it set out to give. And I don't really think it's going to make anybody think twice about the way they treat other people out in public. People are, kind of on edge, and they have been for, I would say, the last 8 to 10 years. And things just continue to go in a downward spiral. So we do want to be considerate of those around us. But man alive, this movie was not what I was expecting it to be. But it wasn't terrible. It is entertaining. I think if anybody watches this, they will be entertained. But it can be quite disgusting with some of the deaths that do occur in the movie. I'll tell you, the first half an hour seems like it's going to be that straight on suspense thriller film that I was looking forward to seeing. And then there's one sequence where this girl that had the traffic altercation with him and didn't know he was still around, she actually went to a gas station. She went in and saw him in his truck sitting behind her vehicle, where she was getting gas. And she went in and told these people, please call the police, do what you need to. And there was a guy there, and there was also the woman at the register. And she said, well, We'll help you out. We'll wait until you leave. We'll call the cops. We're going to get his license plate. So the guy kind of goes out with her to make sure and kind of holds him back while she leaves. And then, yeah, there's an unexpected scene that happens. And that's when I first said, whoa, okay, maybe this isn't going to be the film that I thought it was going to be. And it just goes on from there. There's this, like I said, not suspense. This is not a thriller. Well, there's definitely some suspense. I would say it's not a thriller. This is, like I said, it's a horror movie. And had I seen this last month, right before Halloween, I would have been a little more okay with it. But as it stands right now, I think they missed the mark. This should have been released digitally for rent and for sale, I think, back in October. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would I give this film? I would give it a 6. As a horror film, probably give it an 8. If I look at it as a horror film, they did a pretty good job with it. As a suspense thriller, no. They kind of kept it on the infield here. So they did not knock it out of the park, that's for sure. You get some really good performances by the characters. I think they all have a couple of cheesy lines throughout the film, but for the most part, they did seem, the girl who played Rachel, she did a great job. She seemed like she was scared and you believed her in her situation. And Russell Crowe played a great crazy person. He played a great unhinged individual. It's strange to see him go from Gladiator to something like this. And I don't know if he had a fat suit on or if he just gained a ton of weight for this movie, but he was the largest I have ever seen him. But good performances all the way around. There weren't a ton of characters in this movie. It was pretty much focused on these two individuals. Not to say there weren't some supporting characters. The one thing I will say that was really bad about the movie is the cops were really nowhere to be found. If the events that happened in this movie happened in real life, the cops would have been all over him like that. It would have never gotten as far as it did. So that's my review. In the end, I give it a 6 out of 10 as a suspense thriller and 8 out of 10 as a horror film. I've never had to give a film 2 different scores based on 2 different genres before, but this one was definitely not billed correctly. So watch it at your own risk. Know what you're getting into. And if you've seen it, let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll be doing lots of movies and TV show reviews coming up, and I'm going to keep this going, and hope you guys are entertained. So don't hesitate to also give any suggestions. If there's something you want me to review, leave that in the comments below as well, and I will get back to you. So there you go. There's my review for Unhinged.